The body constitutes a closed universe. The skin which covers the outer surface of the body is impermeable to water and gases. It does not allow the microbes living on its surfaces to enter the organism. It is capable of destroying them with the aid of substances secreted by the glands. But it can be crossed by deadly beings, viruses by the minute. Its external face is exposed to light, wind, humidity, dryness, heat and cold. Its internal face is in contact with an aquatic world, warm and deprived of light, where cells lived as marine animals. Despite its thinness, the skin effectively protects the organic fluids against the unceasing variations of cosmic surroundings. It is moist, supple, elastic, durable. Its durability is due to its mode of constitution, to its several layers of cells, which slowly and endlessly multiply. These cells die while remaining united to one another like the slates of a roof, like slates ceaselessly blown away by the wind and continually replaced by new slates. The skin, nevertheless, retains its moistness and suppleness, because small glands secrete on its surface both water and fatty substances. At the nostrils, mouth, anus, urethra, and vagina, joins the mucosas, those membranes that cover the inner surfaces of the body. All its orifices, with the exception of the nostrils, are closed by elastic and contractile rings, the sphincters. Through its outer surface the body enters into communication with all the things of the cosmic universe. In fact, the skin is the dwelling place of an immense quantity of small receptors organs, each of which registers, according to its own structure, the changes taking place in the environment. Tactile corpuscles scattered all over its surface are sensitive to pressure, to pain, to heat, or to cold. Those situated in the mucosa of the tongue are affected by certain qualities of food and also by temperature. Air vibrations act on the extremely complex apparatus of the internal ear by the medium of tympanic membrane, and the bones of the middle ear. The network of olfactory nerves, which extends into the nasal mucous membrane, is sensitive to odors. A strange phenomenon occurs in the embryo. The brain causes a part of itself, the optic nerve and the retina, to shoot out toward the surface of the body. The part of the skin overlying the young retina undergoes an astonishing modification. It becomes transparent, forms the cornea and the crystalline lens, and unites with other tissues to build up the prodigious optical system which we call the eye. The brain is thus enabled to record the electromagnetic waves comprised between red and violet. Innumerable nerve fibers radiate from all these organs and connect them with the spinal cord and the brain. Through the agency of these nerves, the central nervous system spreads like a web over the entire surface of the body where it enters into contact with the outer world. The aspect of the universe depends on the constitution of the sense organs and on the degree of sensitivity. For instance, should the retina record infrared rays of great wavelength, nature would take on a different visage. The color of water, rocks and trees would vary with the seasons because of the changes in the temperature. The landscape standing out would be obscured by a reddish haze. Heat rays, being visible, would conceal all objects. In winter, the atmosphere would become clear and the contour of things precise. In a like manner, the cosmic world would assume another appearance if the retina became sensitive to ultraviolet rays and the skin to light rays. Or if the acuteness of all our sense organs were considerably augmented. We ignore things which have no action on the same nerve endings of the surface of the skin. Therefore we do not perceive cosmic rays although they pass right through our body. It seems that everything reaching the brain has to enter the sensory organs, that is to influence the nervous layer enveloping our body. The unknown agent of telepathic communications is perhaps the only exception to this rule. In clairvoyance it looks as though the subject directly grasps external reality without the help of the usual nerve channels. But such phenomena are rare. As a rule, the senses are a gateway through which the physical and psychological universe penetrates our organism. Thus the quality of an individual partly depends on that of his surface. For the brain is molded by the continual messages it receives from the outer world. Therefore, the state of our envelope should not be modified thoughtlessly by new habits of life. For instance, we are from knowing completely what effects the exposure to sunlight rays have upon the development of the entire body. Until the exact nature of this effect has been ascertained, nudism and exaggerated tanning of the skin by natural light, or by the ultraviolet rays, should not be blindly accepted by the races. The skin and its appendages play the part of a faithful keeper of our organs and our blood. They allow certain things to enter our inner world and exclude others. They are the ever-open, though carefully watched, door to our central nervous system. They must be looked upon as being an essential part of ourselves. Our internal frontier begins at the mouth and the nose, and ends at the anus. Through these openings outside world penetrates into the respiratory and digestive systems. While the skin is impervious to water and gas, the mucous membranes of the lungs and the intestines allow these substances to pass. They are responsible for the chemical continuity of our body with its surroundings. Our inner surface is far larger than that of the skin. The area covered by the pulmonary alveoli is immense. It is approximately equal to 500 square meters. The thin membrane formed by these cells is traversed by oxygen from the air and by carbon dioxide from the venous blood. It is easily affected by poisonous gases and by bacteria, and more particularly by pneumococci. Atmospheric air, before reaching pulmonary alveoli, passes through the nose, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, and the bronchi, where it is moistened and freed from dust and microbes. But this natural protection is now insufficient because the air of cities has been polluted by coal dust, petrol fumes, and bacteria set free by the multitude of human life. Respiratory mucosa is much more delicate than skin. It is defenseless against strong irritants. Its fragility may cause the entire human body to dysfunction. From the mouth to the anus, the body is traversed by a stream of nutritive substances. The digestive membranes determine the nature of the chemical relations between the external world and the inner world of our tissues and organic fluids. But their functions are far more complex than those of the respiratory ones. They must profoundly transform the foodstuff which reach their surface. They are not only a filter, but also a chemical factory. The ferments, secreted by their glands, collaborate with those of the pancreas in decomposing the ailments into the substances capable of being absorbed by the intestinal cells. The digestive surface is extraordinarily vast. The mucosa secrete and absorbs large quantities of fluids. Their cells allow foodstuff, when digested, to enter the body. But they resist the penetration of bacteria that swam in the digestive tract. These dangerous enemies are generally held in control by the thin intestinal membrane, and the leukocytes defending it. But they are always a menace. Viruses thrive in the pharynx and the nose. Streptococci, staphylococci, and microbes of diphtheria in the tonsils. The bacilli of typhoid fever and dysentery multiply with ease in the intestines. The soundness of the respiratory and digestive membranes governs, in a large measure, the resistance of the organism to infectious diseases, its strength, its equilibrium, its effectiveness, its intellectual attitude. Thus the body constitutes a closed universe, limited by one side by the skin, and other by mucosas covering our inner surfaces. If these membranes are impaired at any point, the existence of the individual is endangered. This covering separates our organs and humors, fluids, from the cosmic environment, and yet allows for the most extensive communication between physical and chemical worlds.